And we are recording. Okay, everybody, this is Al.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Marketing Strategies for Success. As Laura said, as we go along, we'd be happy to answer questions as we go, and I'll stop from time to time to make sure there's a place to do that. So this is brought to you by SCORE. We're part of the local chapter. SCORE nationally is a resource partner of the SBA. We have over 10,000 volunteers like myself spread over 200 chapters across the U.S. And what we find is that if you have a guide, a mentor, somebody to help you start your business, you're going to be more successful in the long run. Locally, we have experienced both men and women working, retired, not retired, still working to help you out. Akron has helped over 50,000 clients since we started in 1965, and we serve the 5-county area: Mahoning, Medina, Portage Summit, and Wayne counties. So we're here to help. And our mission is to help small businesses, and we do it through mentoring and education. Our mission, our vision then is that every business, every person has the support necessary to thrive as a small business. We've been doing this for a long time. We don't have every person, we don't have every business, but we're trying to get there, and we will sooner or later. We hope. So let's begin by talking about the difference between marketing and sales, because there is a difference. Sales is where you present the product to the customer, whether you do that in their home, in your showroom, wherever that may be, out on the street. It's where you present the product to the customer. Marketing is what brings the customer to you. So that has the customer call you on the phone, come to your website, ring your front door, whatever that may be. So marketing is very different from sales. So this morning we're going to talk about marketing. When we talk about marketing, it's really important to understand that it's the idea of figuring out what your customers want and then telling them about it. What does the customer want? Tell them about it in a way that they'll want to buy it. Really important thing to remember is that nobody buys a thing because they want that thing. They buy that thing because what it does for them. For example, nobody wants a pen as such because a pen doesn't do anything, it just sits there. They want a pen to be able to write. Nobody buys a phone because they want to carry the phone around in their pocket. They want to be able to talk to people. They want to text. They want to do email. They want to do voicemail. They want to play games. They want to have a calendar there. It's what they do with it, what they want that thing. For example, people buy a watch because they want to know what time it is. And in the timekeeping business, there's a lot of competition for that. So your job as a marketeer is to explain to them why you do a better job of whatever it is than anybody else. So to do that, it's important to understand a customer from the customer standpoint and what they're doing when they're looking. So let's talk about the buying cycle, because there's only certain times in the buying cycle when the customer even cares. So the first, we start with the customer's happy. Everything's just fine. So for example, let's say they just bought a new car. Well, if you're selling cars, they're not in the market for a car because they're just happy. They just bought one. Everything's just fine. There is no problem. They have it all. It's just great. It's wonderful. Life is good. What happens over time is things change. So maybe it's 10 years later down the road. Now the car doesn't look quite the same as it did 10 years ago. It doesn't run as well. It's got 160,000 miles on it. Tires may be worn. So something has changed. However, until the customer recognizes that those changes make a difference, nothing's going to happen. But in this case of the car, it's 160,000 miles, and the tires are worn out, the brakes are squeaking. Maybe it's time to buy a new car. So I have a recognition of need, and that's a key point in the buying cycle for us as marketeers, because now things begin to happen. Because I have a need. And whether that's my phone is now broken, or my phone is too slow, or my laptop has a blue screen on it, or what, something has changed, so I now have a need. And it's that recognition of need is where all of our marketing efforts come to fruition. Because of that recognition of need, the customer starts looking for alternatives. I've got a problem. I want a new car. My laptop died. My watch broke. Whatever it is, I'm now looking for alternatives. And that search for alternatives is when they come to your website or come to wherever you are, come to your store, walk in the front door, or walk into the car dealer, wherever it is, they begin that search for alternatives. The first thing that you need to tell them in your story is why they should buy from you. Why should I buy from you? Is it better, faster, cheaper, slicker, neater, whatever it is? Why should they buy from you? Anything else you say up front doesn't matter because they already know what they're trying to do. They already know they need a new car or a used car, whatever they're going to buy, or a new computer. So they're in the search for alternatives. So the first question you have to answer is why should they buy? And nothing else matters. Now, if you think about a story that you're listening to or a story you're telling, the sequence of the story makes a difference. The same is true in marketing. The sequence of your message makes a huge difference. And it's only that way that you're really going to draw people in. So, for example, you pick up a novel and you want it to be exciting, and you read the first 10 pages, and it's not very exciting. So you put the novel down, you probably never go back. But if the novel pulls you in, there's some kind of intrigue happening, the spy is spying or whatever, maybe that's why you should follow it, to find out what happens. So the story makes a huge difference. So the first question you have to answer is why should the customer buy from you? Then the answer of how you're going to meet their need. How are you going to fill that need? Well, in the case of a car, you're going to give them a new car, you're going to give them a used car. That answers the question of how. And then thirdly, the question is, who are you? Are you qualified to do the how? So in the sequence of this buying cycle, it's really important to start with why should I buy? Answer the question, how will you meet my need? How does this meet my need? And who are you? So I'll come back to the pen alternative. My pen runs out of ink, so I'm looking for another pen to buy. So you tell me that your pen is easier to write with, so you can write longer. It has more ink in it. It's more comfortable in your hand. Also makes you smarter. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, we've got this special roller ball. We've got this big ink reservoir. And we are a pen company that's been in business for 50 years. And some of the names you might recognize would be Montblanc, is a luxury pen company. So that sequence tells me that's probably the pen I want to buy. So with that backdrop, think about the buying cycle, where customers may be in that, because when they're happy, nothing happens. Nothing happens till something changes. Then they recognize the need. They look for an answer for that need. And you have to tell them, okay, yeah, I'm going to meet your need. This is how I'm going to do it. And then why you should buy from me? How am I going to do that? And who are you? Who is you? A lot of websites you'll see spend a lot of time right up front telling me who they are. I don't care who you are yet. So you can waste a lot of time, a lot of clicks that come to your website and leave because you haven't answered the first question is why should I buy from you? I don't care who you are until you answer the question, why should I buy? So make sure that you get that in your marketing, you get your message, the sequence right. Okay. Let's come back to the fundamental of who are you going to sell to so you can answer those questions. The more specific you be about the demographic, the income level, gender, geographic, age, position in life, education, habits, the better are you able to sell to that person or market to that person. And the narrower that person is, the more specific you can be, the more likely you're going to get that marketing message to hit the target. So with that, let me stop and see if there's questions that we can address at this point.
All right, let's see. Oh, let's see, in the chat so far, no. And yes, you guys will get slides afterwards, in an email from me, as well as a copy of this recording, from our YouTube channel, so you can reference it. Let's see, no questions in the Q&A yet.
Okay.
All right. Nothing yet, so you can go ahead.
Okay. So the marketing people will call that target customer their persona, the very specific demographic. Why is that critical? Because that persona is how you develop your marketing plan. So you can target market the people you want to attract. You can tailor your marketing plan to that specific customer. You can speak directly to that person because you know who they are, and what their need is. You can likely figure out where that fan base hangs out, and you can optimize your marketing spend. Only spend it on that demographic, on that persona, in the place where they're going to be, where they get their information. So, for example, I was driving down the road yesterday afternoon. I looked at a billboard, and by the time I actually understood what was on the billboard, we were gone. At 60 miles an hour, you don't see much of a billboard. So putting your phone number on the billboard was kind of a waste of time, because it just doesn't meet my need and I can't do anything with it. So even if I did want to buy it, I couldn't get the phone number and get the name of the company because we're going so fast. So it was a waste of my time. A better way would be maybe just let me come to your website. Then you can let me decide how much time I want to spend. All right. So in addition to the P, the persona, let's talk about the product, the pricing, the promotion, and the place where your product is. Those are the four basic P's. Product is the actual definition of that product, but more importantly, how it meets the end user's need. How does it meet what I need? So that's the first question we have to answer. Just why should I buy it from you? How does it meet my need? Then we set a price. Then we have to promote it through advertising. And then where am I going to get that product? Is it coming to my home? Do I have to come and get it? Do I have to pick it up? Do I have to go to a store? Do I have to drive somewhere to get it? How's that going to come to me? So that's an important part of the four P's of marketing that you want to think about. So as you think about your product and services, those descriptions should always include what are the unique features and what's it mean to me? What's the value to the customer? What does it do that nobody else does? What does it do better than nobody else does? Any special benefits that are unique to the customer for that demographic. Again, if you've defined them by education and age and income and location, you can talk about special benefits that are unique to them. And always answer the question, what's it do for me? Why should I buy it from you? And then also the total product experience. Is it rapid delivery? Is it high quality? Is it low cost? What do you provide? What does your product have? But note that of the rapid delivery, high quality, low cost, you only get two. You can't have all three. So you can't have really high quality and low cost. It doesn't work that way. You can have rapid delivery, you can have high quality, but those two, by definition, say it's not going to be low cost. So think about what are those unique features? What are the special things it does for me? And what's that total product experience look like? And build that into your marketing message. And always remember that people don't buy things. So telling me about the thing isn't helpful. They buy what things do for them. Again, let me stop and ask their questions before we go on to pricing.
All right, everybody. Any questions, you can type them in the Q&A or in the chat. No questions yet, Al.
Okay.
You go at such a good pace. It's a really good pace for questions.
Thank you. Not too fast, not too slow.
Exactly.
Okay, just about right. Story of the three bears. Okay, let's talk about pricing. When you think about pricing, you want to think about the market. And markets, all markets look exactly like this, a pyramid. Up at the top is a very high price, very few customers. Down at the bottom is the largest number of potential customers you can have, but the lowest possible price. And so where in that pricing pyramid do you want to be? Let's take the car market again, because everybody knows cars. Way down at the bottom, you'll find used cars, because used cars are the least expensive. And oh, by the way, there are more used cars sold in the US than all brand new cars combined. So that's the most potential customers. Up here at the top are your luxury cars, your Lamborghinis, your BMWs, and your Mercedes. They don't sell very many of them, but boy, they get a lot of money for them. You get a high price. So how might that work? Let's talk about this in reality. Let me give you an example of Anne and Bob. They're twins. Anne was born a couple of minutes before Bob, so she has a very, very different idea about business than Bob does. Anne is in the concierge lawn care service business. The name speaks volumes about what she does. She takes on customers by the season. She will manicure your lawn. She will edge it, trim it, pull weeds, fertilize it, and make it look just terrific. And you can envision the kind of person that would want that kind of lawn service. Probably a wealthier individual, possibly in a gated community, that wants their lawn to look really great, but doesn't want to do it themselves. And Anne makes a good living doing that. Her brother Bob, on the other hand, thinks completely different about lawn care. He calls his business Bob's Cuts. That's all Bob does. He cuts your grass. His team shows up, off comes the lawnmower, grass gets cut, lawnmower goes back on the truck, out he goes. He doesn't trim it, doesn't pull weeds, doesn't edge it, doesn't blow the grass off your driveway, doesn't do anything. He just cuts your grass. As you can imagine, Bob has a lot of customers. Bob's cheap. And you'd said not so many customers, but she's very expensive. Very different business models, but interestingly enough, they both make about the same amount of money. Bob has a lot of customers with very thin profit margins, but he's got a lot of customers. Anne has very few customers, but with big profit margins. But they make about the same amount of money. So the question you have to ask yourself is, where in that pyramid do you want to be? So going along with that model, Anne keeps the same crew throughout the entire year. In the winter months, she has them taking the lawnmowers apart, cleaning them, painting them, repairing them, rebuilding them if necessary, sharpening the blades. So in the spring, they're ready to go. Bob, on the other hand, lays his guys off. So he has a brand new crew. Some come back, some don't, every season. He doesn't do anything with the lawnmowers in the winter. So when he gets the lawnmowers out, about half of them start, the other half don't. So he spends time getting the lawnmowers ready to go. Very different business models. But again, Anne keeps her team on all year long. That's expensive. Bob lays them off. That's where he saves money. So different business models. Anne requires that her team wear khaki shorts and a white logo polo shirt. And her rule is, if the shirt gets dirty, you change it. So you always have a spare in the truck. So her team always looks well-dressed, neat, clean. Again, Bob doesn't care. Bob doesn't provide a uniform. Bob doesn't provide shirts. And so when Bob's team shows up, if they have a shirt on at all, it may not even be today's shirt. It might be yesterday's shirt or the day before's shirt. But Bob has no interaction. Bob's team has no interaction with the customers. So Bob doesn't care, neither do customers. Because they just show up, cut the grass, leave. They never talk to the customers. They don't spend any time with them. Anne's team will. So the question you have to ask yourself is where in this pyramid you want to be. And as you can see from these two business models, you can't be in two different places, not with the same marketing, not with the same image, not with the same anything. You've got to be in different places in the pyramid. So Bob can't sell to Anne's customers, and Anne clearly isn't going to sell to Bob's customers. So where do you want to be? And that is a conversation that would be interesting to have with your score advisor, your score mentor. Some pricing strategies you might talk about with your mentor is what's the market price? What will the market bear? If you're selling used cars, you want to look at Kelly's Blue Book and see, what's the market price? You might want to decide you're at the high end, or in the case of Ann, or at the low end like Bob. Maybe you want to price it to get into the market and take market share from somebody else. You might just have everyday low pricing, which is some of the department stores market that. You might say, let's talk about markup from cost, or maybe we bundle them together. You've heard the insurance company bundling saves money, home, life, car, motorcycle insurance together. You might have vary it by customer type. So a customer type might be a veteran. You might want to give a veteran discount. So there's all kinds of options in pricing. But fundamental to once you publish your price, you will find that it's a lot easier to decrease your price than it is to raise it. If you try to raise your price, everybody says, wait a minute, why are you doing that? But if you lower your price, everybody thinks they're getting a good deal. So in many ways, if you want a strategy, if you're in doubt about where to start high, come low, rather than try to start low and try to build it, try to raise your price. As you think about pricing, you want to think about all of your costs. What do you have in there? So material, service, shipping, profit, all has to be in there. And what does that do to you in terms of competitive pricing? You may want to adjust your price based on demand, and it might be seasonal. So the day after Christmas, you can buy Christmas decorations and Christmas trees really cheap. If you set your price too low, that's not good for you. It's then disruptive to the marketplace. The last thing you want to do is start a price war. And setting the price too low in most new businesses I've worked with is a problem that they start out with. They just don't believe that their product or service is worth that much. So they price it too low. When you price it too low, yeah, you're going to have sales, but if you're not making any money, we talked to two guys yesterday in a business that they did a $60,000 job and walked away with about $1,000 in their pocket after working on that project for 3 months. Clearly priced it too low. You can't work for 3 months and put $1,000 in your pocket and expect to survive. So talk to your score advisor, your mentor, and make sure you're really thinking about your price. Promotion is all about the marketing message. And remember, it needs to begin by answering the question, why should I buy? And it has to target that specific customer. Think about what they're going to do with your product, because not everybody will use your product for the same reason. They may use the same product, but they may not use it for the same reason. So I use the example of Al's Bike Shop. If I'm selling to younger people, younger women in particular, they're probably using the bike for exercise or for racing or for health reasons, and they want to ride hard, they want to ride fast if they're competitively racing. So the features about the bike that help them do that become important. Now, if it's a 65-year-old grandmother, she's not riding competitively, probably. She's riding for exercise for sure, but she wants to keep up with her grandchildren. So if you think about it, those are two very, very different people, same bike, same product, but very different messages. So messaging here about why they should buy your product, explaining to the grandmother that she can keep up with her grandchildren and how you're going to do that with a lightweight bike and comfortable seating. Whereas the speed racer doesn't really care about seating because they probably never sit down. So telling them the seat's really comfortable doesn't help you. But you want to talk about lightweight, speed, endurance, durability, ride fast, ride long. There's a lot of places you can do this, a lot of tools and methods that you can use. And we have a whole uh, other webinar on some of the details of marketing. Make sure that you have a professional image. Make sure you know your budget. And in today's world of email and websites and so forth, if you borrow original photographs from somebody else, be careful of that, or graphics or artwork that isn't listed as specifically free. They may be protected by copyright, and you could have a problem with that. So just be careful of what you borrow from the internet. If it's your original photos, that's fine. But if you use somebody else's, that could be a problem. If you have marketing collateral material, make sure that it looks the same. So no matter where I see you on the internet, in print, on the website, social media, on the side of my truck, wherever it may be, it all looks the same. So that's a consistent brand that you have. Social media, that's a really crowded marketplace today. There's a lot of places to do it. Again, you want to start with that persona. Where do they get their information? Is it every one of these media, or is it just one, or is it just two, or is it, how do they do that? How do they find you? Where do they get their information? Customer service, believe it or not, is a marketing tool, because customers are your most important asset. So customer service is really a marketing tool to use to attract and keep customers. Not all customers are alike. Repeat customers, because they come back to you time and time again, are gold. I mean, they're just solid gold. Those customers, you want to love them to pieces. Referral customers. So Aunt Jane said you were a really good dentist. I'm going to come to you. They're yours to lose. A referral customer already is predisposed to buy from you because somebody said you were a good person, you had a good product, good service, whatever it is. So they come expecting that because a good friend of them recommended you to them. If you lose them, that's your fault. If you have walk-in customers or customers that call you up, you don't know where they came from, but what you do know is they came to you. So again, explain to them why your product is best, how you're going to provide that service, and who you are, because they're copper. Maybe at the bottom of the food chain are phone-in customers. So how much is your product here? And they're just shopping you, so not so much. And the last thing to think about here is that a competitive advantage in the future is really going to be through the customer experience. And customer experience begins with great customer service. So I'm sure you've all been to a restaurant where the food was pretty good and the service was lousy, and the experience you had was terrible. Food came out cold, it was late. You're probably not going back. You all probably had an experience where the food was okay. I mean, it wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. But the service was spectacular. Uh, the timing was right. The server was just very helpful with you, and that was the experience, the dining experience. And restaurants use the term dining experience, which is much, much more than just the food. It's that experience. And the reason people go out to a restaurant is they don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, they want to be served. They don't want to have to do the work themselves. They want to be served. And so that's that service experience in any business is in the future going to be the differentiator, because many, many, many markets are very, very crowded. And the difference between one product and the other may come down to the experience and the service that you provide for them. So think about customer service and the customer experience as a marketing tool. Score a while back did a lost customer survey. And out of every 100 customers that were lost, 68% of them were lost because of nobody cared. They said, okay, we just don't care. We're not sorry. We're not going to help you. It's just too bad. That's a horrible experience, and they don't come back. 24 came in with complaints, and they weren't fixed. The product was broken out of the box. Well, I'm sorry, we can't fix that. Whatever that problem may be, so they never come back. Now, the remaining customers, we couldn't figure out where they were gone. But what that says to us, if 92% of customers that come to us with a problem could be saved and become better customers by making sure we're very attentive to their issue and make sure we resolve whatever it is their complaint is on a timely basis. And they come back again and again because of that very thing, because of the way you treat them. There's a story back in the day of Nordstrom, which is a really high-end department store. And they were just absolutely famous for their customer service. And into the complaint department comes a gentleman one day with a tire. He rolls the tire in, and the service agent says, what can I help you? And he says, well, the tire's defective. I want to return it. The customer service agent looks at it and says, okay, it's defective. Okay, I took it back. Now, what do you think is unique about this? I mean, you think about that, that was pretty good customer service. But you take a look behind the curtain and you find out that Nordstrom never sold tires. And there is customer service for you. When you get that kind of service, you're going to go back. Your customers are coming back when you have great customer service time and time again. Customer service, again, is a marketing tool. It represents a role in your total business and marketing program. It makes you special in some way. It's critical in that marketing dialogue with your customer that when they said, I have recognition of need, and you recognize that need and you help them fill that need. And if you have great customer service and that experience they have from start to finish is the best it can possibly be, you're going to have a real competitive advantage over your customers. And think about the customer journey from the time they make first contact with you, whatever that may be, until the time they leave you and you follow up with them. That whole journey. A long time ago, we did some work for a eye doctor, and complete with his eyeglasses and optometry services and so forth. You could actually walk out the door with your glasses. They identified 23 touch points and designed a customer experience for every single touch point in that. So, for example, how many of you walked into a doctor's office and the waiting room has got people in it, and there's a glass window there, but the glass window is closed? And I walked into one doctor's office 2 weeks ago, and this big sign on the window, please don't tap on the glass. We'll get to you as soon as we can. Is that great service? It's okay. Compare that to my eye doctor. When you walk in the front door, the waiting room is wide open. The receptionist is sitting at a desk that's wide open. There's no barrier between that. She looks down at her appointment list, and even without a good memory, she can pretty well guess who the customer is, but she will stand, sometimes walk around to the front of the desk and greet them, and use their name if she can, because it's in the appointment book, and ask how she can help them, and said, okay, we can take care of you in 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Please have a seat here. If you've got children, we've got a play area over here. Make them feel special in that journey that they have. And whatever that journey is for you, think about your customers walking through that journey and how you can make it special for them. You're going to get the 10 Commandments of Customer Service in the slides. But notice that in the 10 Commandments of good customer service, the first word starts with customer, because everything in marketing starts with the customer. So kind of begin to wrap up here. Today's marketplace is very crowded. In most products and services, it's very competitive. It's more competitive than history, anywhere in history, because people can find you because the internet's so easy to find people. Even if you're not local, they can find you. So it's your competitors may not even be in your state or your city or even in this country. Uh, the need for professionalism by you and your employees has never been greater. That first impression is a lasting impression. And because of the first one, the internet, the customers are more mobile. Uh, they can bank anywhere. So just because you have a branch next to their house doesn't mean they're going to bank with you if they don't like the service they're getting or the products or whatever. So they can bank anywhere. They can deposit from their phone. Customers are very mobile. And because second last point, because repeat customers are gold, make sure that you take really good care of those repeat established customers. So let's summarize here. Good customer relations are an excellent marketing support vehicle. So customer service, customer relations, customer experience is all part of marketing. Always keep communications open. So if the customer has a problem, when they bring that problem to you, they're doing you a favor because they're telling you something that you can fix, something you can make better in your business. Uh, if you can, in every case, follow up after something has happened, after a sale or after any kind of communication. In fact, my eye doctor's case, they would give you about a week and they call up and say, how are your glasses doing? How do they fit? Oh, don't fit quite right. Bring them back in again. We'll readjust them. How's your vision? Good. Okay. So they would check with you. And even if everything is just fine, it's good to know if most wait people in the restaurant business after you've had your food for a couple of minutes will stop by and ask how it is. Everything fine? Did it come out right? So it's that follow-up that's an important part of, again, your overall experience, overall marketing. So thank you very much for your attendance today. Uh, if you'd like to have an advisor, a coach, a mentor, a counselor, make an appointment with us, and I'll show you on the next page how to do that. And here we are. We're in Akron, Ohio. You can find us at Score Admin 81 or at akron.score.org or in our national website at score.org. So with that thought, I will pause for questions at the end, and I'll stay as long as we need to answer questions.
All right, let's see here. We got a couple questions. Oh, we just answered that. How do we get a contact with a SCORE mentor? How
Right.
do you get new customers after you have not done business in a year?
That's where marketing comes in. You have to let not only your past customers, but any new customers that you're back in business again. So if you kept track of your old customers, go back to them, phone call, email, written letter to let them know you're back in business again. And you, again, in your marketing, you have to explain to them that it's the same people. This is who we are. We're just using different tactics. And if the tactics are important, what those might be. So we're opening up with better delivery. We're opening up with better service. We're opening up with better pricing. Whatever it is you're opening up with, inform them of what that is. And start with your past customers and then begin attracting new customers with standard marketing out to social media and your website.
Oh, okay. Besides market pricing, what are other factors that could be used to determine pricing?
Say that again, please.
Besides market pricing, what are other factors that should be used to determine pricing?
Well, remember we talked about the three things that are important. It's quality, service, and price. So if you don't have the price advantage, then you better have much better quality and much better service. So you've got those are the three levers you can pull on. Uh, and the choice is yours. You know, which two do you want to pull on? If you think about Ann's concierge lawn care service, she has quality of service and uh, by manicuring people's lawn, and price is not one of them. So she's got quality and service. Whereas Bob, he has neither quality nor service, but he's got low price. So in his case, he only needs one. I'm sure you know about the everyday low pricing that some department stores use, some big box stores use. So how we doing? Any other
Good.
questions?
Any other questions? Here we go. Is it vital to revisit your marketing plan quarterly or have a living document?
Oh, very much a living document. Uh, nothing in the world stays the same for very long. Nothing in business stays the same for very long. And you need to keep up. That's really, really important. That's a living document, that you're revisiting your product and your service and your pricing on a regular basis, and continue to look at it. When you don't do that, uh, it's just a matter of time until you are out of business. There's, the landscape is littered with bodies of businesses that are the big ones, the pros that are no longer here because they didn't adapt. One of my favorite stories is Kodak. Uh, Kodak saw digital photography coming, ignored it, said it can't be, nothing is as good as film. And in the early days, they were absolutely right. That digital photography was not nearly as good because it didn't have enough resolution. But today, I can tell you that digital photography far exceeds the quality of film photography. So please keep all of your thinking, your marketing, your product, make it alive and change with the times. Because if you come back to the buying process, as things change over time, I recognize a need, but that may not be a need that I had several years ago. So it may be a different need, a new need. And if you're not providing whatever that new need is, you're providing for the old need, then I'm probably not interested. So it's a long way of saying, please keep your planning up to date, your product up to date, your thinking, always looking out at the marketplace.
All right, any other questions? Somebody said, thank you, the level 3 concept's very helpful. I don't see any more questions, Al. Oh, wait.
Just thank everybody for attending. And on our akron.score.org website, our other webinars are coming up. So I encourage you to educate yourself and just be the smartest business person you can be. So everyone have a wonderful day, and maybe I'll see you at another webinar.
All right, everybody, thank you again. And I will be sending you an email with the slides as well as the recording. So have a good day.